Scientific breakthroughs, the unveilings, spiritual revelations, the openings. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2. First World Order Radio, Tips and Tricks Tuesdays. Blackwater, the Meta-Maji-Shen. It's Tips and Tricks Tuesdays, another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. That pig, that's fine. Hijacking the mind. Aluminum bonds with intelligence. Rewind the message. Merry Christmas. 13 indigenous immigrants. State of the unison. Addressing nothing. Foundations congruent. Level to level. Fuck the embezzlements. Tales from the crypt. Hitting blood rituals. 50 scores flying over California vacation. Flying dragons. Swords and daggers. Lions and tigers. Gotta get my bearings or perish. Tap into raw flesh. Vampire, vegetarian. I'm a malnutrition. Chemically imbalanced. Ethiopian. Inhaling kush. Blue projects get pushed. Move with the bush. Standing on the middle line. No defining. Swirling dervish. In between space and time. Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day. Just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Tuesday, another news day. North, east, west, south. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday.
Whether you suffer from pain in your back to aches in your knees, come on down and purchase you some ancestral tea to get rid of all the parasites, toxins, and fleas. Spiritual elevation for cosmic gravitation. So put away the patience, cause there's no time to be wasted. Ancestral tea, that's all you need. Ancestral tea, so you better believe. Ancestral tea, and it works for real. Commercial advertising for ancestralteas.com. All rights are reserved. Peace.
Yeah, ATD, above the dome, trap of freedom, of family, tradition, heritage, the missing links, spiritual miracles, the awakenings, the walking sphinx. It's time to eat, food for thought. It's the Meta-Maji-Shen. Holy rainwater flows off my altar, channel through the seasons, elevate the reasons. What's the purpose of life to the living, death to the conscious? At the end of days, clash of the titans, zombies running rampant, Christ in the pampers, looking for a lamp, revving at the church, plugging in the amp, rock of the ages, son of the undead, vamping immortal rage. I bleed red ink on the page, words and truth, no signature, to the blur from invisible literature, sitting at the dock of the bay with Otis, having rituals, turn the lights off, it can get real quick, sir, melting pot mix, I'm in search for a fix, walking backwards, looking forwards, patiently waiting, don't ignore it, holding two swords like peace signs aimed at your board. Want to be caught in the trap of freedom, do you want to be locked in the trap of freedom, do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom, do you want to be locked in the trap of freedom. Darkness to light, walk into flight, hawk eyesight, interdimensional terabytes. Fuel for the journey, some lay a fuel for the gurney. Colored in the book of law, no need for attorneys. I turn the page, feel the script like a doctor coming out the cage. I'm the lion, fed grain, sticks and stones, no pain, or work is only worth its gain. Attempting to keep my inner sane with lifestyle changes, highs and mountain plains. 7 thoughts, 7 vaults, no faults, who's to blame? It ain't the same, they taking names, I feel the sun. It ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. I see you run like Hussein, like none. It seems frightening, exciting, I go with streaming lightning. I'm the Nickelodeon at night.
You want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom?
Yeah, time, space is obsolete. Locate the unlocal, way above yet so below. The permanency of non-movement, ATV, above the dome, trap of freedom, Blackwater, the Meta-Maji-Shen. Mad scientists on the track. Peace.
Our planet is the 4th in distance from the star you call Sirius, some 8.7 light years from Earth. Fantastic. This is the first time we have left our system, and you, the first intelligent life we've encountered. We're pleased to meet you.
I stand 10 feet tall on a 9-step pyramid in Tolo, Mexico. Call me Quetzalcoatl, the high priest magician, holding a commission system, raising 3 suns with 12 planets orbiting a serene existence. Dimension shifting, not poles, prompted to the 12th density, the old soul. Third eyes open, we see the truth, divine light, conducting doing F sharps. Solar energy engulfs the king's gallery. 2 halves stay whole, you're breaking the mold to the pattern of your reality. In the meditative state, your true self is revealed. The hidden powers to heal the mind, body, and spirit. There's nothing to fear. Ascension levels are near. Ancient ancestors' channels stay clear. Living in harmony with all cycles of evolution. Unifying as one, that's the solution. We're building our life force energy, so we meditate. We gotta meditate. Eat the right foods, conserve, don't waste. Meditate, you know we meditate. Moderate physical and mental activities. Meditate, you gotta meditate. Living in harmony with all cycles of evolution. Meditate, yeah, we meditate.
Meditate, open your third eye, open your chakras. G-O-D is I, magnetic propulsion, carbon in my skin, stuck in the matrix, think you breathing oxygen. 3D downgrade, so I had to elevate, had to get my mind right, spirit keep my body straight. Hologram world, got to put together pieces. We are all holy Bible, stick you with Jesus. In the West shades pray, in the East we meditate. The United States fall up while everybody else is straight. So I had to obtain life force energy, cosmic energy, everything is energy. Most crop circles, come from meditation. Gandhi walked the world while locked up due to meditation. From hit it whenever, breathe in your nose, exhale out your mouth and stay on your toes. Meditate.
We're building our life force energy, so we meditate. We gotta meditate. Eat the right foods, conserve, don't waste. Meditate, you know we meditate. Moderate physical and mental activities. Meditate, you gotta meditate. Living in harmony with all cycles of evolution. Meditate, yeah, we meditate. We're building our life force energy, so we meditate. We gotta meditate. Eat the right foods, conserve, don't waste. Meditate, you know we meditate. Moderate physical and mental activities. Meditate, you gotta meditate. Living in harmony with all cycles of evolution. Meditate, yeah, we meditate. Fantastic.
Indeed, peace and blessings to all. It is another Tips and Tricks Tuesday, First World Order Radio. And once again, it's Blackwater, the Meta-Maji-Shen on the Tips and Tricks Tuesday. And give thanks to those who came before, and give honor to those who will come after. I say, another wonderful day. You know, every day is a new day. Sometimes we take in something from the day before, every reminder of something from the day before on that new day. But every day is a new day to accomplish a new feat. It's always an exceptional, extraordinary journey that we are partaking in anew every day. All right, so stay in the moment. Today's topic is meditation is my medication. Meditation is my medication is a topic I've spoken on before. Had 3 parts to it last year. Speaking on how meditation has become a very active form of remedy to cure, in my own experience, certain ailments from physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. By taking in enough of that breath, that spiritual breath, that light, the intelligence, it infuses one with the ability to connect all possibilities within and without, as above, so below. In light of all this information that is being bestowed upon us right now, as far as media is concerned, you know, that deranged melanin is floating around out there. It has come to my attention that it seems that we are in the midst of a game. Of course, you know, we've all known this for a while, especially if you're in the know. You know, the word game, when you look at it backwards or you take it and rearrange the letters, you have E, M-A-G, and that would be pronounced basically image. So the game that the parasitical littles, you know, are munching on right now, these parasites, is the game of images, visualizations, what we see, what we think we see. The old saying is, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. I'm not mistaken, something like that, but even if it's the other way around, believe half of what you hear and none of what you see. Believe nothing, basically. You need to know exactly what it is. And really, the avoidance of being attentive to certain particular, when pertaining to information that is not necessarily going to be of beneficial usage inside of your life, maybe we shouldn't even be attentive of that and focus our energy on certain images. You know, that's the visualizations, that's symbols, basically. Some symbols, most symbols are so discreet. They're right under our nose, and we see them every day, you know, and we don't even notice and pay attention to them because it's become an active part of our life. So now it's just ordinary, you know. It's like the stop sign we spoke on before, S-T-O-P, you know. S&T, that's very simple. I mean, it is what it is. S&T, that's the Kundalini energy going up the cross, you know what I'm saying? And then you have the I, the first I there, and P, or pay, and open in Hebrew. Yet, it's right under our nose, and we see a red sign with white bordering. And, you know, red and white is, of course, the colors of the lower and higher self, or upper and lower Kemet, that was represented at upper and lower Egypt back in the day, that was represented as the lower and higher self, but also Set and Haru. So this red and white, red representing the color of Set and white representing the color of Haru. But if you notice, the bordering is minimal in comparison to the red. It's more set, more activity, you know what I'm saying? But the statement is stop at the activity. Stop. Be active. So it generates a chaotic situation within the genetic structure, within the DNA, due to the fact that the DNA deciphers that language in a certain manner, meta-nature or whatever the script may be, that the symbolism may have, that symbolism may be absorbed by the information will be absorbed by the cellular structure or the DNA. As it absorbs it in and takes it in from the external reality, it goes in. But we define it as what we think it to be in that jargon of English or whatnot. So the FTOP is a symbol that hits our subconscious, and then maybe in turn it may generate a certain type of activity in our life. I mean, who don't get scared? Stop, or now police pulling up. We see police. What I'm saying, oh, it ain't even pulling up. They're going the other way. We're throwing on seatbelts or slowing down or whatnot. So it stop sign and it's red and bordering with white. It gives a spiritual semblance off, yet the main value is placed in red. So that activity of red and the statement of stop there is telling us to stop right there in the tracks while we have this Haru light. But activity also is accorded to, it also corresponds to Haru as well. Yet when we there's an abundance of it, it's not balanced in that in the depiction of this what we're talking about, the stop sign. So that symbol may have some type of variance within our high and low. You know what I'm saying? Yet we are still in a discomfort zone right now as far as some of these activities that are going on right outside, and it's blatant to me. What's taking place. That's why I stated it's scary, it's sketchy. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Tell Kim to hook you up with some crackers. Some crackers in the cabinet right there. There's some nabs in the cabinet right there. Yeah, tell Kim to give. All right. So get Kimmy. Kimmy got it. Yeah, tell Kimmy. All right. There's one more people right there. Let me go check. Make sure we got everything together. Stay right here. Fast. There you go. He wants to crack it. You're welcome. All right, so I'm saying with these type of events going on, current events, whatever, really is not current. It's been happening for a while. It's just events that have been escalated by repetition, basically, doing continuously in repetition. And this is the Hegelian dialect once again, problem, reaction, solution. Oh, you're welcome. So what happened last week was the 1st of August. The young queen possibly, was shot and basically murdered by a SWAT team over in Baltimore, Maryland. So again, we're back at Baltimore, So Tamare is being attacked. The Lord or the God, the kings, the queens, the chiefs, the chieftains of Baal meaning Lord, or chief, ruler, Ma, Ray, Ta meaning land, Ma meaning water, Ray, fire, light. So the Lord of the water, the land, and fire. And that Lord is basically air. So once you add that, the 4th element there, it becomes the essential 4 fundamentals of 4 fundamental modalities of life. And on this planetary level anyway, as a step down from photonic energy into the phase of what we have here on this planetary level is physical reality. So there's another section of an indigenous land, Baltimore, there, that they pinpointed as far as location. You got to remember, these locations have value more so than what the eye's seeing. Most of these areas all over the planet is what we call ley lines. These ley lines are pivotal points, intersections of energy that reside within these lines. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, cathedrals in Europe, or great cathedrals, the pyramids, Stonehenge, the Nazca pyramids down in Mexico. All these are on these lines, these ley lines, and these are actually intersecting lines of electromagnetic energy, but they're greater on these ley lines where they do intersect and meet, like at the pyramid structure. So it's the capability and the possibility and potential of that power that can enhance one's magnetic expression. You know what I'm saying? So in order for certain things to be acquired, and this is known by those parasitic littles, of course, you know what I'm saying? They know where the ley lines are. They've studied planet Earth and the geometric indications, or the geometry behind it, basically. And they know that there is a force or energy that we call Viru, Kundalini, Prana, Chi, that also is interactive with the planet Earth, as above, so below. So physical body has meridians and acupressure points of energy or whatnot, the nadis, then thus the Earth as well, since we are emanating from the Earth as the seed source. You know what I'm saying? From the source seed. And all is an expression of all is an expression of self. You know what I'm saying? So those who have the ability and the knowledge to manipulate those energies at will or how they feel, then some of them do, and they may do it to the lesser. Basically, they may do it to depreciate the value of humanity in place of what is truthfully the potential of the energy is for all. There's an abundance of energy, but if we don't know it's there, then that abundance is just is somewhat dormant, yet it's inherent. And that's our inherent truth, and one of our inherent inheritance, and that's to be naturally able to use or utilize the potentials of mother and father, basically, the energy in the earth. So they put these, they have these different areas that they are located. But once again, this is in Baltimore, Maryland, where this incident occurred last week of August 1st. The so-called incident. Now, reason being, I'm not going to say it happened, it didn't happen, whatever the case may be. We'll speak on a little something, but not to ride the nail into the plank, so to say. But I ain't trying to build nothing off of it because I'm not like that. But I'm going to bring some things to light as far as my perception is concerned on my views on what may be taking place. Not personally my views, but as the ancestors have given some information and some insights to these situations somewhere. All right, so we'll be looking at this thing, scary or sketchy, you know what I'm saying? We talked about the Pablo experiment last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I didn't come in last week. Oh, and give thanks to the fam that came by over the weekend, Haru and Kia, and as well as the Prince and Princess, like Alim and Fidera, that came through past weekend with their fam. Well, Haru and Kia had their fam with them. It was beautiful. We had a blast. We did some wonderful things. We're working on a video for the Nagas. That track on Ride Nobles or The Return of the Nagas. Posted it on Dr. Alim's YouTube page a couple of months back. Now we're working on an actual visual video with live participants, not with the group actually instead of just clips. So, I do the clips on it before. But they came through. We had a little good time and stuff. Got to kick it, build on a few things. The brothers and sisters around here, some of my brothers and sisters, a few of us more got together, and Dr. Ali, built with us and whatnot, and of course, Kadira had her open arms and was giving her love and nurturing motherly advice to the fam at the house. Appreciate everything. Oh yeah, you know, Peru and his seed, one of his seeds, Mr. Yeah, that dude, yeah, something special. He learned a drum pattern within like 30 seconds. He had it going. At first he said something like, I don't know why. No, what he said? He said, I know I make a lot of noise when I play the drums, but I just love them so much. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I just love the drums. Next thing you know, he got the pattern. He's going, you know, playing pretty well. I think he's 8 years old now, 9 years old, somewhere in there. But first time he sat down, not really like to play the drums. The first time I could sense that he sat down to really pay attention to how he played the drums. But give thanks for them for stopping through, get home safely and everything. So going back to what we're speaking on, in these attempts to renounce, you know, our true and living autochthonous soul right to naturally be or to naturally breathe, government, what we call government, has placed us in a state of chaos, basically. And it's, you know, like I was saying, it's similar to what happens in the Pavlov experiment. And remember what we were speaking on last week. The Pavlov experiment is based on the German doctor, Dr. Ivan Pavlov. He was a physiologist, though. He wasn't like a psychologist or nothing like that. But in an experiment, he had a neutral stimulus, and which would be like something like him walking in and the door opening, you know, and the dogs recognized that, and they would begin to salivate because they represented that door opening and him coming in with feeding. So what he was doing, he wanted to see how much or what would cause the dogs to salivate. You know what I'm saying? So what he found out, that they would get hungry when he walked in and they heard the door open, and then that would stimulate the unconditioned stimulus of them being fed. So over time, you know, anytime the door opened and he walked in, they would automatically think they was about to get something to eat, even if it wasn't feeding time. So they used different things like sounds, electric shocks, and you know, buzzers. You know what I'm saying? But what took place is that neutral stimulus, the door, developed. It basically was associated with the event of the feeding, which was the unconditioned stimulus. So this neutral stimulus eventually turns into a conditioned stimulus, and that conditioned stimulus forms the conditioned response, which would be the salivating. So the conditioned stimulus now, in this situation that's taking place, or the neutral stimulus, like we were speaking last week, the neutral stimulus could be something like 4th of July. And then the unconditioned stimulus could be we eat barbecue, or we had in cookouts or whatever, you know. So this ongoing repetition of this 4th of July celebration, and is now how we represent it now, or represent it as far as in Western society and Western standards of celebrating this holiday. We now have the unconditioned stimulus that's developing to a conditioned response. And that unconditioned stimulus will be us eating barbecue or whatever, having that cookout, having 4th of July celebration, fireworks, you know, all this good stuff, even family reunions or whatever, vacationing. There's certain things that we may do in repetition on the premises of what is taking place on 4th of July, or that time of the year, basically, in that cycle. And this is a repetitive, ongoing thing. And another thing about brainwashing has to be done in repetition, not just brainwashing, but in order for anything to be submitted into a set pattern of memory, then it has to be done in repetition. Say, for instance, you want to remember how to do something on a test. You know, some people think that being smart has something to do with intelligence. No, it really has something to do with just memory, basically, and intellect. But when we're submitting something to our memory in repetition, it builds up synapses as well, but it also builds up a sense of what that one subject or topic is, and we will always be able to go back to that one situation due to the fact that repetition has been introduced in that particular activity. You dig? So the unconditioned stimulus, which would be the whatever we're doing outside of the 4th of July so-called event, develop into what we have as conditioned response. So it's now conditioned, or it's learned behavior. So now the pattern that used to be just, okay, now I'm used to the bell ringing, so now I know I got to get up and go to another class or whatever. All right. So now I'm thinking, like, what happens when the dog has a choice? You know what I'm saying? So if the dog say, I don't even want to go through this experiment no more, I don't like this, then what? You know what I'm saying? Well, the dog find out that he ain't a dog, like that this man is walking around with, you know what I'm saying, with a chain on him or whatever, and he's going through a different experience. What if he finds out that he can talk? And the dog says, no, I don't want it anymore. You know, like in the movie Planet of the Apes, when Caesar turns around and grabbed dude's arm, was like, no, that dude almost had a heart attack when he found out that the so-called monkey had intelligence. You know what I'm saying, was able to verbalize and have concentrated cognitive thought to be able to even know what the word no meant in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Then be able to actually, bring that to the vibration of sound. You know, they have, as far as society is concerned, we have been conditioned to believe that certain type of entities on the planet Earth are a certain way. You know what I'm saying? But when we prove them wrong, in most cases, we all have a particular way of thinking anyway that's based on what the worldview has given us. So we'll only participate with that information in that genre. We won't even try to transform it. As far as the energy is concerned, we just look at it like it is. And, oh yeah, I don't like him because I don't like her because she's a lesbian, or I don't like him because he's white. I don't like him because he got Jordans. I don't like her because she has dreadlocks, so-called dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? So these implementations of a lower base reaction sends out, different unharmonious waves of energy that has to be transformed and transferred as well. So that mirror effect eventually turns into what we may see. Now, as far as what took place, August 1st with this Kareem James, you know what I'm saying? They're saying that she may have been sovereign, and I don't want to get too far into it yet, but there's an article I located where what's his name, Stephen A. Crockett Jr. It was posted. I guess he wrote this. It says Kareem James may have been a sovereign citizen. Here's what you need to know. Y'all probably read this too. It's somewhere in here. It's just the way his you can tell he is compartmentalized. He is only going off of what his paycheck is driving him to do. You know what I'm saying? He's not even really, I don't think he has studied or practiced any of this. And basically, it's the lack of knowledge, but the lack of knowledge itself never resides in the intelligence. That basically is in the breath. So, yes, we're going to get into meditation. I'm going to go over, I'm just going to walk through, we're going to talk for a second on some of these things that's taking place. Just basically this and then a few other topics. But meditation is key. Meditation is my medication. In any time of discomfort, or if I feel that something is about to take place or I'm about to react in a manner that I know otherwise would be right in my own experience, in my own personal, the way I do, I take a breath, it don't matter where I'm at. I might not go through a meditative exercise and nothing like that. But I'm very mindful. I attempt to be mindful of my activities. I attempt to. It is a task when things are always going to be introduced that may distract us from that potential of being able to gather the intelligence on almost just throughout the day without that distraction. So it is a task. It is and it's chaos going on right now, and it is based on where we are as Moors today. When we're looking at these type of things, okay, well, let's look at this right here. The dude wrote, he said, sovereign citizens believe that the government not only is wrong with detaining them, but also has acted with impunity because U.S. citizens are ignorant of their rights. States right here also, police sometimes stop sovereign citizens who believe that they are being harassed unjustly by uninformed officers during a post-after-the-march traffic stop. Gangs identified the police as kidnapped. And noted that she was being held hostage while in police custody. Sovereigns believe that judges, courts, and police officers no longer have jurisdiction over them. They consider police harassers and clog up the court system, filing frivolous lawsuits citing archaic and oftentimes asinine statutes. This is sometimes referred to as paper terrorism. That's why I was looking at this last paragraph right here, and I'm like, yeah, dude has something against sovereignty as well. Basically, because he's looking at the word sovereignty, you know what I'm saying? But when you dig into, sovereignty basically means self-governing. Who doesn't want to govern itself, Do we need government? What is the purpose of government? Basically, the purpose of government states that it is necessary to ensure the proper use of force. The purpose of government is to protect the individual rights of its citizens. That's the basic definition of what government is. So force. So what is their intent? It seems that that's force over intent. Their intent is not to disseminate true protection like a mother and father would. You know what I'm saying? Mother and father let the son do what's going on, get it. Go and live your life. Say, 18, get out. So whatever. You're a man, you're 14, whatever it is, go do what you got to do for yourself and then to support the community, to support the tribe. You feel me? So, but this government is not self-governing in that manner. This government that we're talking about is a government that is over the people. It's not for the people, by the people. Government should be based on sovereignty, on self-governing, because it has to start in the house. It has to start with the individual way to do itself. So that individual way to do itself is able to police him or herself, then they can walk out into the tribal community and police the family as well as the tribal community. But if when the individual way to do itself at home is policed properly or is self-governing and being able to handle and control their own affairs in accordance with nature, then it's easy for them to walk out and be able to do such as well. Oh, my niece. Okay. No. All right, so being self-governing, or what they call, sovereign, not sovereign citizen, that's oxymoron, but self-governing. And we should all have the ability to be self-governing, to be able to breathe on our own and not have our breath captivated and basically kidnapped. So that before the physical has to get kidnapped, the breath has to get kidnapped. So how's the breath getting kidnapped? You know what I'm saying? Information. For every bit of information that we acquire, we have to take a breath to inhale it and then exhale it back out. So our breath is being obstructed. It is being hijacked and misused. Breath is basically intelligence, and that's the fuel, that's the force. So that is to ensure the proper use of our force. You know what I'm saying? So government is basically, again, to dictate the mind. So what is the mind doing? The mind is taking in the all. The all is the intelligence. The mind is the intelligence. So the all is all. So they are manipulating, or the proper use of our breath, the proper use of force, intent over force, meaning divine activity is connected to the force of energy properly. You know what I'm saying? So both are now unified in unison or whatnot, so that when they are in that connected function of lower and high, intent and force, intent, mind, force being the physical side of the intent, you know what I'm saying, being able to see it, then we have a collective agreement of peace, love, truth, honor, balance, you know, and everything is cool. Chaos is there, yet the chaos is in order, because the chaos will not be in place in a physical sensation like it is today. The chaos will be in mind, and we will bring it forward, that transfer energy back into its exactation of truth and balance by the order of the breath going in properly in a conscious manner, in a deep conscious manner. When we're going through these situations, if you ever notice, we lose our breath, and the breath is definitely not deep and conscious. We take a breath first when we get the information to come through us, and we allow the intelligence, the ancestors, to go within first. Then we won't have that blockage within the heart. So the heart is not really, the heart is not getting the information properly. It goes in and goes straight to our gonad, so it goes straight to the lower self. And the lower self, being a good friend, is not a good master, you know what I'm saying? So if we have to befriend it, yes, you know what I'm saying, tame the lower self, but do not allow the lower self to become such a nuisance that we give up. Recall what we were speaking on Jade Ham as well, you know, Jade meaning basically to become weary and tire out, to make dull, you know what I'm saying? But as far as what's happening, the anger circuits just seem to burn out. We accept delusion. So they want us to accept the delusion that we are not naturally here to be free. So when we see these things happening and occurring in these different areas of indigenous people, indigenous, you know, us, basically, we have to, we gain an opinion that is based on the external or based on the worldview, you know. So then our anger circuits or our reactions are also going to be based on that worldview. And then after a while of these reactions and no real beneficial outcomes, then we become disillusioned by the worldview, and we just accept it to be what it is. And now what they're trying to make us as a people, as we accept, is that sovereignty is not worthwhile. And if we are to attempt to become sovereign, then maybe what took place with Korean Games would be the conclusion. So you look at the word, her name, Korean Games. Korean is very similar as far as phonetically concerned to, in its pronunciation, to Quran. All right, so and Quran means recitation. It basically means to continuously recite. It also means to continue to recite, or the cycle of the sun when you break it down into Meta-Maji-Shen. Yet when we speak it in Arabic, Quran or Qari means to recite. And Quran, when added on or in to it, Qari, it means to recite continuously. So then you have the word gain. Gain basically means to advance, you know, to bring something into, to gain, you know what I'm saying? So I had that pulled up. Let me, but basically the recitation, the continuous recitation will gain. This is what will be gained. Purpose. It was right somewhere in here. Hold up. I'm at work again, and the Wi-Fi here is kind of slow. So bear with me for one moment. Here we are. All right. So gain that which has been acquired, such as possessions, resources, wealth, also booty, arable land, an advantage, profit from agriculture. You're derived from Proto-Indo-European root wei, W-I-E, pardon, myself, to go after, strive after, pursue vigorously, desire. Also was now there just indicating force or power, related to we, ro, man, or virile, V-I-R-I-L-E, virile. That's energy, vital energy, virile, okay? Cognitive includes Sanskrit, padidi, which means track, path, or trail. All right, so also means to chase. Lithuanian, dete means to chase. But basically, to go after, strive. This word is supposed to be derived from gains or gain. There's a G-A-I-N, but to gain means to obtain as a profit as well, to earn. But the recitation or the reciting, the continuous reciting gains, or the continuous reciting of force and power, the continuous reciting of vigorous desire, the continuous reciting of something that is acquired, such as possession, resources, or wealth. But what we see is female, of course, a queen or goddess, a melanated goddess. I think she may have been somewhere interracial, if that's what we're going to call it. Yeah, they showing it on the side of her being murdered, so to speak, you know what I'm saying, within the media. Remember, believe half of what you hear, none of what you see. And also what it says to say the world is a stage. So there's a lot of acting going on from the world view, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we got to get up out that box that's off the stage and see that, you know, oh, shit, I've been acting the whole time. That's good, you know, about the illusions and shit. Yeah, okay, cool. And we still participating in it. Hopefully we're walking in it, in the matrix and on the grid or whatever, without Neo. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is, so do what you do. And then for us that are not in the know in that manner, then some of this may be conflicting and very confusing. You know what I'm saying? Where to go now? What do I do now? You know, what's going on? You know, if I was proceeding into this realm, what they is calling sovereignty, but basically it's just having your indigenous right to be, you know what I'm saying, who you are without having any type of regulation over your shoulder, trying to look at every little nook and cranny of your life and saying this you can't do it this way, you got to do it this way. One way is not right, and one way is wrong. Why can't we be, discerning of self by the experience, through our own experience? Now, there's so much here to offer, so-called in this Aquarius age now, that when we're looking for our truth, it's been pretty much bombarded and stifled, choked, out of its dear breath that we can't recognize it. Yeah, similar to what happens with black-on-black crime, or what we call black-on-black crime, or whatever. It's like we pull out a gun quick to shoot a brother or a sister or uncle, cousin, mom or daddy, whatever it may be. Yet, when the true enemy shows his face, we don't even recognize him to be the enemy, because the enemy is, one light, us. Whereas the one we're looking for salvation and the one we're looking for an answer from is not like us in that manner. You know what I'm saying? And that's dealing with morals, and standards. Is also dealing with the level of intelligence that they are on and the threshold of their impotence to always bring some type of conflict within the means of reality. So the repetitive recitation of, gaining or that which is to be acquired. Now, we can look at it on two sides. What they want to be acquired is, of course, on the level of fear, that lower base, the low end. And if this holographic expression, or Horu, this light expression is to be expressed in a manner of set or whatnot, as far as, you know what I'm saying, on the physical activity of what is being regenerated on a day-to-day, then they have to produce some type of reality that is in that same faction of thought. So that's where the jaded comes in, or the jade ham. Meaning is, of course, the stirring object of a boat. So when they have gained control of the pineal gland, which basically is the stirring wheel of the physical body, you know what I'm saying, it's the control point. If they can manipulate the energies that's within that we absorb, then, you know, like a GMO food, GMO thoughts, GMO air, GMO water, you know, so all these things, the three elements, fire, was all elements, you know what I'm saying, that trickles down. But we have manipulated air, chemtrails, manipulated water, you know, faucets, whatever, you know, all that good stuff, and manipulated food or earth, you know what I'm saying. So this is all coming down, different genres of, well, these are coming down in reflection of what's taking place on a photonic level. But basically, since these things have been fused into the blood, by way of breath, then what happens is the plasma now, the photons now have become disorganized somewhat in their unity of intelligence, blockages. So the intelligence doesn't go outright deep enough into the subconscious manner to where we can activate the information in the proper manner. So daily recitation, continuous, repetitive recitation of power words, like we were speaking on last week, Texas and Utah are two enemy states or whatever within that J-Ham exercise. But this is power words. Power words can be reflected on Quran games. So again, you know, in Baltimore, where our good brother last year was so-called murdered by the police up there in Baltimore, Frederick Gray. Remember that was Amotep Osir. Amotep Osir, Frederick meaning Fred meaning Prince, and Drake meaning Fred meaning peace, and Drake meaning ruler or rights. Rick meaning ruler or power. So Frederick meaning ruler of peace or prince of peace. Amhotep or Imhotep. Osir, Gray meaning the unknown, so he had an X factor. You know, this is all, you know what I'm saying, just coming from a different angle. Remember, metaphysical language is the retransformation of words so that we can open up different portals of thought. So we're going to just look at what is given to us from, you know, just looking at the title of a book and judging a book by a cover. We got to read between the lines in the book. Sometimes we got to separate the words on the pages of the lines in the book to really see what the ancestors are attempting to scream at us. Because remember, this language that we have here is a bastardized language, right? So the ancestors speak to us in different manners. One of them is through words. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the modalities of the way the energy or intelligence, we can call it ancestors, star, or the answers are developed and derived from that realm of words, okay, or the vibration that brings about the sounds that are developed by the way of tonalities and sound or words. All right, so, you know, so daily recitation on that end with negativity versus the daily recitation on the end of power words such as I am peace, I am love, you know what I'm saying? Nukpu Hotep, I am inner peace. Nukpu Ma'at, or Nukpu Ma, I am balance, I am truth, I am love, you know? So when we have these negative situations taking place, we don't even have to say I am to them any longer like to talk about, because when you're dealing with conspiracy, again, conspiracy, spirit again means breath or spirit, and con means to come. So to come together in one breath. So when conspiracy, when we speak on a conspiracy, basically we're speaking into it, and we are also becoming a part of it, because conspiracy basically means to breathe together, to conspire. So anytime there is something going on, you got to remember we're all activating what's going on by regurgitating it, due to the fact that all things are collectively together under one breath. We can't go anywhere on the planet Earth without breathing together. I don't know why so much diversity when everybody unless it's some type of reptilian that can't breathe on the planet like that, it has to go underground or something, you know, how the story goes. Yet still what I'm saying is, it's one thing for sure that we do together. I mean, we all bleed blood, we all breathe. You know what I'm saying? So within that lower level of regeneration of that, or regenerating that breath, sometimes it comes out like it is, in that those power words are on the lower base of power. You know what I'm saying? Power is power. You know, and someone on the external can gain power by manipulating and pretty much altering the truth of where the potential is, and then, you know, turn it around to where the only way that look at the world today. Look at what's going on. There's so much violence, so much disunity, so much discord. I mean, look, purpose of government again. So we look at what government is supposed to be doing versus what. So they say it's 6 specific purposes of government, right? The federal government was established for unity, justice, domestic tranquility, defense, promotion of the general welfare of the citizens, and securing liberty for all. Now, that's a basic. Those are the basic purposes of government. 6 federal fundamental purposes of government. It's for unity within the structure of the society, justice, domestic tranquility. You know, so keeping the people happy and peaceful. Defense against outside forces as well as the inside threats. Promotion of the general welfare of the citizens, meaning, you know, making sure that the citizens stay healthy, you know, nobody and protected, and also securing liberty for all, you know, making sure everyone is free. So, what is the true purpose of government? If we are liberty basically means free, right? Securing liberty for all. I think liberty is unlike freedom. You know, government is to dictate basic rule. So if we are meant to be free, if government is there to, disseminate force properly, force is against freedom. In this manner, I'm just saying, like, to force something means that we have to have regulation. There has to be some type of reason for force to be used on another entity. So that means I'm forcing something upon someone because I want to regulate their freedom or regulate whatever freedoms that they have. So now there's force is now going to be put in place somewhat. You know what I'm saying? But government dictating the mind or whatever. Where's liberty in dictating someone else? So that's a contradiction. Also, government is meant to keep us away from dangerous foods and products that may generate crime, like drugs and things like that, alcohol. But yet they pump the drugs in the city. They put the alcohol right there next to the apartment complex, and then the school's next to the ABC store. And then the gun store is next to the school. You know what I'm saying? Or the pawn shop. So you got the pawn shop, the ABC store, the school, and the apartment all on the same block. So then this is government, you know, basically doing this intentionally. And it's not like they don't know it's right there. You know, there's too many of them popping up all over the place like that. It's an experiment on the dog. So when the dog wakes up and say, hold on, I want to be a part of this experiment no more, and I want to be who I am naturally, a free dog or whatever you want to call it, whatever, you know what I'm saying, but hypothetically speaking, in concern to what's taking place, they go in and they have this incident like what took place in Baltimore with the young lady. Now, this is a young lady. This occurred. Now, we got to remember, fear is based on false experiences appearing real. So sometimes, you know, all type of things be happening within media, and they show us all type of stuff. Yet, does that mean it's actual or factual? I put that TV up there on the slideshow, but on the TV it says this is what the job of the TV is. This is what is described as, you know, the job criteria. My job is to keep this is the TV now. My job is to keep you distracted while restricting the limits of public debate. I sensationalize talking points to keep you focused on the trivial while ignoring the important questions. I never contradict the status quo because what I really do is deliver state-sponsored propaganda. What I admit is often more significant than what I share. All right, so with that said, what I admit is often more significant than what I share. This is the media, this is the TV telling us its job. The job of the TV is to never contradict what's taking place on a day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? That's basically sponsored by government or sponsored by state propaganda, you know, state-sponsored propaganda. You know what I'm saying? And the job of the TV begins to distract us. Distract us from what? Distract us from our potential. You know what I'm saying? This is not just the TV. This is in general, television has become the reality. The reality is now in the TV is in the reality. There's no it's like there's no filter now between those two realities. The medium or the media has now taken over both realms of high and low inside the masses. You know what I'm saying? So if we're looking at what is the purpose of government, basically, in my own point of view, government basically is there to regulate the functions of society, and that's what they do by force. You know what I'm saying? They regulate what's going on in the world inside the world structure by way of means of forcing things upon those that are in that particular circumference of government under that government. You know what I'm saying? So they want to scare us away of being knowledgeable of what and who you truly are by showing us this, you know, so-called sovereign being murdered by SWAT at her apartment. Now, you know, information is information. All information ain't good information, but the last thing was what the TV said is what the TV admits is often more significant than what the TV shares. So what is being admitted from this situation? Yeah, who knows? You know, it's really, but look at it like this. They showed us Alton Sterling get shot. You know, someone that filmed that. Now, I haven't seen any footage of the brother that they so-called said was in Texas shooting. They blew him up or something. And I haven't seen the brother over in Louisiana. I haven't seen anything about him getting blown up or however he was apprehended, and then I think he was killed as well. We haven't seen any footage of that. And if I'm not mistaken, this incident with Corinne Gang, she had the camera and was filming it all the while. Yeah, I haven't seen any footage of that either. So if these things really took place where and they said that these brothers were affiliated, you know, the one brother they were showing them all over Facebook and whatnot, or social media in general with, you know, the Dashikion and all that good stuff, you know, saying he was affiliated with different Pan-African type of groups or whatever. But, you know, needless to say, this is all pointing the finger at certain entities, individuated through selves, who are now coming into their own more greatly. And reason being is because we know, you know what I'm saying? And they are attempting to renounce the true and living, attacking the soul's right to naturally be, and that's to naturally breathe. So when we are really intelligent of who we are, now we have knowledge of self, that we know that knowledge of self resides within the breath, basically. All right, but let's look at the etymology behind this as well. Etymology is the causal of an event or a situation, not the effect, basically. Etymology, that's Etiology. So what's the purpose behind the parasitic littles wanting to deface our rights, our indigenous rights, our natural rights to be? Why do they wish to control us? Why do they wish to have this Pavlov experiment on a day-to-day basis, to where we have it's like we wait for it. You know what I'm saying? We wait for some type of event. We're looking for that neutral stimulus that develops into a conditioned stimulus that eventually develops into that conditioned reaction. So we're waiting on these things to appear now, and that wait or whatever eventually becomes that stimulus, that conditioned stimulus. But we salivate in at the mouth, and they know what it is that we want to eat. So, you know, they give us enough food, or they give us that bone, and we chew on it. Now, what is the etymology behind this situation? This is why I say it's scary or sketchy. You know what I'm saying? Sketchy meaning like they tripping. Because if you're reading and looking at it right, you read between the lines, you see that they are on short time. They're on that borrowed time. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at the etymology. We're coming out of the first world order right here. All right, get this book if you don't have it. Wrote it from Dr. Ali and Kadira, The First World Order, The Global Past of the Ancient Ones. All right, so I'm coming from page 59. This is an excerpt from a chapter in the Macaque of the Dead by Peter Moon. He's writing about the Moorish mysteries, as well as speaking on Noble Drew Ali's journey to Havana, Cuba. But check it out. It says right here, when the Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, it was on the heels of one of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Noble Drew Ali ever made. In 1928, Noble Drew Ali attended a Pan-American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national who was representing the ancient empire of Mexico. Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Drew Ali or what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document which was to change the face of Moorish science forever and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism. That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups, be it the Nation of Islam, the document Drew Ali received was a copy of a mandate whereby the Mexican Empire extended a land grant of the entire Western Hemisphere to certain Europeans. Okay? Essentially, at least America to a certain part for a particular number of years, not unlike the way China leased Hong Kong to Great Britain. This lease was up in 2004, but now in 2016. And you see all the trauma and different events that have been taking place since 01 or whatever, the millennium. So Then here it says, it is entirely reasonable to believe that such a document, if it still exists and can be brought to light, is a mere relic of a long-forgotten era that has no significant meaning in today's legal system. That's what Dewey stated. If you have truly studied the detailed legal history of the United States of America, you will understand that there is more than a little truth to the prospect of there being such a document. Why? The entire legal history of the United States is predicated on such a proposition. What is known is that the Secretary of State Hughes from the U.S. government attended the Pan American Conference and was made privy to this mandate. So were several other heads of state. As a result, a closed-door conference between several nations was held in Geneva, Switzerland, and a elaborate series of discussions and negotiations began. And yes, there is a ley line in that area of Geneva, Switzerland. That's also where the CERN is, in Franco, Switzerland, on the Franco-Switzerland border. CERN is, again, that's the LAC junk where they, opening up those portals and all that shit. All right, but the Geneva conferences went on for some 5 years, but records are still kept sealed to this very day. It is known that several international banks called in their loans as a result of this potential legal threat, and the stock market crashed in 1929. Several countries, which included the United States, Portugal, France, and Spain, declared bankruptcy in order that relevant powers could buffer themselves from any potential legal claims. Because filing suits and wanting our booty back, wanting our gains back or whatnot. Really just basically wanting to be free and not having those different trilogies that are derived from the mishandling of one's truth. You know what I'm saying? Signing papers and then signing papers that basically we have no knowledge of because we don't understand the language. It's not our language in that manner. And then we sign the papers in an ignorant state of mind because what the papers is concerning is basically signing off into a realm of debt and a realm of indentured slave, of being a slave, basically. Or whatnot. Okay, so then it goes in also to state right here, the most flagrant example, in the case of the United States of America, it was reorganized with a new corporate legal status. Franklin Roosevelt was part and parcel of the entire plan when he abolished the gold standard and created the New Deal. Federal Reserve notes were then issued in place of gold-backed currency. The Great Seal of the Moors was used on the back of the notes. People behind the Geneva conferences were so concerned about any potential boomerangs from the Moorish issue that they began a full-burrowed character assassination of Moorish heritage. The most flagrant example of this was when the two master masons put together the infamous Amos and Andy show, and it became the first nationally syndicated radio show in history. It was deliberately designed to spoof the Moorish Science Temple by lampooning them as the Mystic Order of the Knights of the Sea and callously referred to them as sardines. From one perspective, this can be viewed as hysterically funny, especially when you consider that the dignitaries were given titles such as Swordfish, the Mackerel, and the Kingfish. On the other hand, it was a deliberate and malicious act of intent designed to portray any Moor as the most laughable example of what could be termed the lowest common denominator. Not long after Amos and Andy had his national debut, Noble Drew Ali was arrested and mysteriously died. This has been ignored by both history and by conspiracy books. When you see how intricately connected the Moors are to the history of the world, let alone the United States, you see that they are a guidepost to the true history of the planet. This is the lamp of the illumination, the hermit's lamp, that the secret societies have long paid tribute to in their writings. And by reason of our social conditioning, it seems utterly preposterous that the old Moorish Empire could have an actual court of law legal claim on this country. Conversely, it appears that the world leaders have been deathly afraid of such and have prepared themselves to legally avoid the inevitable. Once again, the Moors showed themselves to be hardwired into the infrastructure of our consciousness as well as the historical paper trail. And then I'm going to read this part as well over here. This is what Noble Drew Ali has stated in one of the temple meetings. Noble Drew Ali knew that the time of the Moors' resurrection had not come and knew that his days was numbered. In fact, Noble Drew Ali stated, it will take you Moors 50 years to figure out what I have done. What I have done is not for you Moors, but for the third and fourth generation from now. There will be new Moors that will come with their eyes open, seeing and knowing, and they will see you, O Moors, in the back and carry out my law. The so-called European was horrified at the potential of our people rising 71 years ago. Yet noble Druoli knew our minds were not ready then. Nevertheless, the so-called United States, Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Portugal convened in Geneva, Switzerland for 5 continuous years. That's the Geneva Convention, to set up what would be the policy of all the participating countries. These 5 years of meetings became known as the Geneva Convention. All right. So that's 50 years. It would take us more 50 years. It would take you more 50 years to figure out what I have done, what he has done. So Noble Druoli knew we weren't ready. He knew we weren't mature enough. We were still in the baby state. We were still in the fetus status. You know what I'm saying? Being nurtured. And now, 71 years later, or whatnot, 3 to 4 generations now from then, we now are in that position, and those parasitical littles are becoming a little weary. So they try to, the reversal of roles, trading places, as in the movie, with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. You know what I'm saying? We are, in truth, the rightful heirs to this land. So the so-called the land right, or the land grant, was out in 2004, and the 40 acres and a mule type of statement or whatnot, I don't think I don't like that, which should be disseminated to all indigenous. They still want to play games with our truth because they want to see it on paper and they want to see other things as well, you know what I'm saying? So, the causal is due to the fact that who the rightful indigenous heirs, we all are here together, yet it's a handful of people, a select few, a small group of people that want to control this all here together. So they give us different opinions or different bones for the dog to chew on. Now, it's up to the dog now, you know what I'm saying? Let me turn the word around. It's up to the guide now to discern and say, okay, I don't even want to be a part of this experiment no more, let alone chew on the bone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So they know that certain stimulation, certain stimulus, certain activities would then give us a certain reaction. So what they're pushing for basically is civil unrest. And within this, what we call it, JHM last year, JHM 15, now we have JHM 16, or UX, it means unconventional warfare exercises. So this UX, UWEX, unconventional warfare exercise. Unconventional basically means guerrilla warfare. That means within within the realms of that, society. Guerrillas, they looking to be able to defend against anyone inside of the government, inside of not the government, but inside the land. So, like in the case of JHM 15, it was to locate the dissenters or those that were against government and then lock them into FEMA camps. That was the role of 2015. Now, 2016 is another type of exercise, or what they call drills or whatever. Again, unconventional warfare exercises, supposedly exercises, and it is to see how we will react in the state of conflict within our own borders, and how the government will come in by way of force and then control those that whatever is taking place that's not in the same means where they're trying to control. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the centers are people that are against government. And what are sovereigns? Sovereigns are self-governing. So that's against the government. So they know that, in general, a majority of sovereigns in America are melanated. I mean, it's more than just melanated sovereigns. That's what they say. I know, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of sovereigns that's Indian or whatever that's melanated too, as well as Caucasian or European. And that's melanated too. But we have diversity of thought based on worldview. You know, when we look deeper within, we know that mom and daddy is one complexion, and mom and daddy can have babies that can be alternate complexions. It's a variation. It doesn't have to be the way it is. But we, you know, that being who we are, we have been conditioned to operate with reactions to all type of things. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, you know, what if I didn't have to say I don't like this person? Or what if I, you know what I'm saying, they say government is necessary, you know what I'm saying, basically because majority of people aren't civil. And, you know, that's why, you know, some people may think that, or they say that, you know, we need government, we need police or whatever, because, you know, what if somebody want to break in, you know, my house, or what if, like, you know, something might take place or whatever that we think we need government. What if China comes over here and want to blow us up or something, so we need the government here with tanks and all that. The tanks are here, though, right next door, you know what I'm saying, pointed at us. They ain't pointing at China. You know, they waiting for a check. China just want their money back, basically. I mean, you know, but if we were left alone, basically, as the masses, if we were just, you know, if there was no government over our shoulder, then we would live in accordance to our true nature, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have to say, you know, I don't like him or her because, you know what I'm saying, well, I don't like this because, I do like this because, you know, I don't like liver because it don't taste right. But if I knew the truth behind it, if I was going to eat meat, then liver would be one of the most beneficial meats for me to eat. It's one of the healthiest foods to eat due to the fact that it has blood. And I wouldn't recommend eating it, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. As far as like that's concerned, too much of it anyway if you eat meat, you know. But liver would be one of the most beneficial sources of potential vitality. You know, so again, this is problem reaction solution. It's the Hegelian dialect in full effect. You know, it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? So as Noble Drew Aliyah stated, it may take 50 years. But these new Moors, that's us, will have open eyes and we see what's going on. So we need to really, sometimes we got to step back and take that breath. You know, we got to inhale and then, you know, or in heaven and then we exhale. You know what I'm saying? So when we in heaven, we need to take in that full potential, that deep conscious breathing of knowing in our state of zero that none of this is really purposely happening in the manner of the way we are seeing it. You know what I'm saying? False experiences appearing real as fear. So we have to rearrange that fear to face everything and relax. So when we take that breath and we allow that ancestral information, you know what I'm saying, to really dialogue with us and to go deeper into the recesses of our mind, into our DNA, into our genetic structure, then that will give us the purpose of our true self-governing abilities. You know what I'm saying? And all these storylines and stuff that's coming along right now, you know, we're going into 2017 and a president campaign thing happening and they're about to do the vote in a couple months. You know, so we got Republicans or you know, the Democrats and Republican thing going on, the runts and the dunts. And or the reptilians and the demon crack, you know what I'm saying, demon crackheads. But these these two groups, you got Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, if you're really looking at it, you can tell that it's a game. It's just images. Of course, the powerful elites or whatever, these parasitic littles don't want Donald Trump in the office. Of course, this is just a game. It's a game. They want Hillary Clinton in the office. I don't know why, but you can tell it's a game they're playing. They're doing too much against Donald Trump becoming president. And then all the other things that Hillary is involved with, so-called Hillary Clinton, is involved with and who she's connected with from the past and everything. And Donald Trump is connected as well. That's why they had to get a ploy. He's been doing things in the view of Americans for a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? So we have a general idea of who he is, even though he's Irish, you know what I mean, or whatever, something like that. So that, him being who he is and then Hillary Clinton being who she is, they're like, oh, this would be fun to watch. Let's give them something to look at, give the dogs a couple of bones to chew on, and then we just put Hillary Clinton in office or whatever by doing so. You know what I mean? It's not really a competition, man. This is a game, The game is already has a victor at the end. These games are determined before they even played out. It's a magnet on the ball, makes it go into the basket. It's the remote control up in the mezzanine that some dude is holding in the what do you call it, the stadium box or whatever. If you don't want the ball to go in the basket, then they press no on the remote control because of the magnet strips on the basketball. But yeah, I'm just messing around. But yeah, so is it that way? Who knows? From the view of ideology, of causal, you see the causal of these events that's taken place in the past few years is due to the more us, the indigenous people of the planet, basically, melanated people, becoming aware of who they are. And not just, melanated people, that's me going into the realm of reaction on the basis of race almost, because I'm saying melanated, meaning when we look at melanin, we're looking at a color that can discern between, but basically melanin is not just color, it is what it is. It is life, basically. But this is just a title that we give something, and then we have to describe it as black now or as, the pigmentation of the skin, but it's much more than that. Melanin, even though I'm saying the word is the intelligence or the consciousness behind the structure of what life is. So all things are melanated. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not just a race of melanated people, of one race, and then another race ain't melanated. All races are melanated. There's different variations of the human race, through mind. Mind being the melanin or the mind, the consciousness, the intelligence, and who meaning the different variances or the different ways that expression of what we would call color, or basically what the intelligence will proceed into as it steps down from the prism of the rainbow into what we have as life and light. All right, so in this holographic expression, it has to be fused by a breath. And when the force is being controlled, or the energy is being controlled by way of an outside force, a physical force, and not by the intent of the intelligence, then what can take place is what we see. And if it did happen, why did it happen? Maybe because the young lady or whatever the event is that occurred prior in her life, or they say that the young man that she was involved with, her husband or boyfriend was arrested for drug charges now, and I think that's why he was they were serving warrants for to arrest them for I think she had an FTA, a failure to appear possibly, and he had some domestic dispute type of things going on, something like that. But at any rate, you know, say throwing dirt. Now he got arrested and he had an ounce of heroin and some priors, you know, for something like they harassing him. I can't remember what it was, but it was something I think of involving assault on government. I don't know. It might have been assault in general. Or maybe it was assault, a domestic dispute involving him and her, him and his wife, his girlfriend, Corinne. But whatever the case may be, this is all speculation. I mean, this could be some written stuff that they had to put, you know, in the script to make it, again, denounce the Moor or denounce the sovereign in this case, because they haven't said she was, you know, a Moor. They're just saying sovereign citizen. In this situation here, yet still, I get a call the other day from a family member and well, actually a text, and it stated, you need to tell your people not to have guns when dealing with the police. I was like, my people? First of all, I thought we was out here together. You know, so there go that, you know, separatism, that separation of oh, I'm in this group here, you don't belong. You go to your group. Go to your people. It was like, there go that racism inside of the same race. You know, so that's that infighting, you know, that's taking place. And it's within the structure of the Moors as well. This individual that text me is not so-called active Moor, you know, being, you know, inside of a temple or whatever, even having knowledge of what Moor science is. She is a Moor by right, by birthright. She just doesn't have the information or the knowledge on what that means, you know what I'm saying, through her experience. But that's all good things, you know what I'm saying? Yet there are Moors that are active and they're going against each other inside this thing because of whatever it may be. We got to remember that these events are not really the main focus. We need to look at the causal, and when we're looking at the event and right there next to the event, you know, the day before, that's not really the causal. The causal was hundreds of years ago. The causal was 100,000 years ago. The causal was a million years ago. You know what I'm saying? When the nanodiamond splattered down as a comet and formed, you know, life on the planet Earth, so to speak, you know, man always existed. As long as the planet's been here, we've been here. You know, there is no disconnection. There's no, you know, what they say, what came first, the chicken or the egg. You know, we were both here at the same time. All of us was here together. The template for the chicken was just a black dot, and that's the egg, basically, you know what I'm saying? But the confusion is there in place to refuse us of our potential, you know what I'm saying? So they basically obstruct the breath by way of force in place of intent. The government, is the government needed, you know, in this matter? I mean, look at the situation again. You know, government or whatever, and government officials, such as even with the police officers or government officials, meaning government overseers or government slave masters or dictators of the mind, these slave masters, overseers, policy overseers, you know, policy slave masters, police officers. So check out SWAT, you know, so first of all, I think it was like 3 cops or something that came to the door, and then she had the gun. They seen her with pointing the gun, so to speak. They said, you know, she had a gun or something at the door. So the SWAT came. Now, I can't remember how many members of SWAT showed up, but this is SWAT against one person with a gun. Maybe they thought about it. But if I'm not mistaken, the boyfriend left out the back. So that means another entry. Now, this is SWAT. SWAT means, again, special weapons and tactics. Tactics. That means tactical. Now, I was in the military. So there are different ways about apprehending and controlling, or, you know, controlling the situation where someone doesn't have to be harmed, even if they have a gun on you. Now, this is one person and a child. This is one lady, a lady, a lord. I mean, you know, a lady means it's a female chief. Lady basically means this feminine derivation of lord. Lady is my lady, but young lady right here is a female, very soft texture. But she has a gun, maybe they felt a little intimidated with their shield and face guard and their bulletproof attire, that maybe they would get a scratch or cut. This is only, this thing really took place in this manner. So you got a SWAT team against one gunner. And they see this one gunner, they know where she at. And if there's another means of entrance or exit to this facility, then they should flank, what they call it in the military, meaning to go behind, to go around, flank the side, out the back side, and come in another means by way of distraction, a gas bomb or, whatever it may be, to shock her and then go in and apprehend her. Now, maybe some gunshots would have took off, but they don't have to walk in the line of fire. Maybe she would start shooting all over the place. But they got shields and all this good stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I read that they took off a shot because one of the officers felt he was in danger because some shit stated. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, for real, you got SWAT team, they're supposed to be tactical enough to know how to control the situation without going to the, extreme of murder. This is a whole team. This is not just one cop or two cops. This is a whole team of. That's why it's like, to me, it's kind of far-fetched. I'm like, oh boy. Now, why would this strategical, they're supposed to have strategy. SWAT or whatever goes in and get. They regulate whole bank robberies. You know what I'm saying? They stop that type of stuff. They stop assassinations. People up in, sky-rise buildings with guns pointed down on people. They go in, they get this person. This is 100 rooms. And versus just one room, and they right there at the front door, or wherever, the house. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't pan out properly in my own deciphering of that situation. It looks like it's iffy, a little sketchy. You know what I'm saying? Scary and sketchy, right? I ain't gonna be scared of it. So we definitely I see the sketchiness behind it. All right, so that is just my little interpretation. Just break down some of what I see from my own personal point of view. Now, this stuff ain't extra stone what I'm talking about. Yet it's still, don't look at it for what it is. That means we're just chewing the bone that they offering us, and that's that conditioned stimulus. You know what I'm saying? Basically, that neutral stimulus is. The event of like 4th of July last year, same type of energy was taking place where seems like it has to be some male energy and then some female energy. Sandra Bland was around this time last year. Then we had Michael Brown around this time a couple years ago. The Nine over there. South Carolina get things, you know what I'm saying? I say to all that, the whole situation over there in South Carolina last year, with males and females involved. And also, the good brother Dr. Tebby's transition took place over the weekend. And, give thanks to that brother for what he has given to what we call the conscious community, but everything is conscious in its own walk. You know what I'm saying? But what he's given to the conscious community and whatnot and everything, with his valuable information on herbs and just how to be able to utilize nature properly. You know what I'm saying? He did some very positive things for the world in general, as far as being one who had the strength and intelligence to go about to make change that was very effective for others and has left a good sense of how to be connected to nature and utilize, nature as a means of obtaining good health. So give thanks to that brother. Give thanks to all the brothers and sisters that transitioned this year. There's a lot going on. It seems like it's one of those years, 2016, has been, not to gloat on it in that manner as far as being, somewhat drab or whatever. It's all good. We move on. It's transition. So in that transference, that energy as well, we have to stay up. Don't look down on it. Look towards the truth. And this is an exchange of energy. All things are. All right, so give thanks. And everything for that brother's existence and what he has given to us. Oh boy, no, we didn't. What is that? Okay. Yeah, I was getting ready to say. I think I haven't been recording tonight, but yeah, like I said, my Wi-Fi is slow. So on the playback, when I play it back tomorrow, hopefully all this has been recorded, because I have had occasions where I thought I was going, but it wasn't actually recording when I'm here. This is the second attempt. No, actually it's the third. So yeah, it did work the other week. So everything's good. It's all good. Ain't no stress on it. What stress produces? Toxicity within the cell. So let's get to the meditation for today. Something old, something new, something wild, something for you. Something. We're going to do the inner smile. The inner smile meditation, the transforming of negative thoughts. Negative lower base energy by the 6 healing with the 5 healing sounds and the 5 organs. So we're going to go into it. You guys, if you've participated with it, then you know how to jump into it. Basically, just find yourself in a relaxed position. But first of all, let's have a radio break real quick. I'm gonna play some music so I can get myself together. What would you guys like to hear? Oh yeah, me too. I love that song right there. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Peace to the God. You already know, man. Yo. Bohemian wizardry, you fraud MCs be killing me. The enemy is close, we both lies on our identity. I build like he who steps, architect like Imhotep. Son had the sun himself, the God deadly with the art. I spit dark with a slit heart. You can feel it in your bone marrow before the shit starts. Standing in the cold with a scroll that was written in gold. Behold the old glimpse that was never untold. Infinite like the 8-7 dwelling in your melon. No felon, though the unrighteous say that I'm rebellious. I'm primal, my rhymes suicidal. I worship no idols. My style a load of gems going down in a spiral. You stuck in your root. My intelligence past my cool. The God is the truth. Every time I step in the booth, you stepped on the stoop. Got scooped and swooped in my loot. Do the knowledge, whack them seeds, get played like flu.
In which the son of us are, a gift from the gods who rule, flying through the sky with golden wings. Submerged into the light, knighted by the golden king with the scepter of justice. Melanin cultivating chi until we are Ethereans, brightly becoming one with the righteous sun. Solar, souls are raw, magnificent glow with unconditional love. Scattered rays for days from the heavens above. Soul below, the souls is trapped in the lowest depths of hell, incarnated into 76 trillion cells. To break free, we must be refined, masculine and feminine properties combined.
The devil is the author of confusion. 183,000 divisions of religion, denominations, sects, codes, schisms, and isms. Though isn't it written in the Bible that Jesus spoke in parables? The scriptures and gospels aren't just historical. Many passages weren't meant to be taken literal. Most of it is allegorical, based on esoteric principles. Baptist versus Methodist, Pentecostal holiness versus Jehovah's Witness, Mormons versus Seventh-day Adventists, skeptics, atheists and agnostics. Divine and cosmic tactics of the reptilians, lower fourth dimensional aliens. So beware of the draconian Satanists. Yo, they aim to imprison all true beings through ignorance. So we crush the head of Leviathan. Battle mind control, subliminal suggestions, brainwashing indoctrinations, using religious, politics, education, economics, health and labor, entertainment and war. Yo, sex and law. In this chessboard game, called like we've all been pawns. Puppets on strings controlled by demonic spawns. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God.
Can't run with the devil and walk with God. It's impossible. So, you know, I mean, basically, running with the devil is running with the world, running with the globe. You know what I'm saying? Running with the world view. You know what I'm saying? The Maya, the grand illusion. You know what I'm saying? So, to run with God, you will perform and personify your own expression of light, your own hologram, your own image. It's your game. You play it. You know what I'm saying? You coach it. You're the owner. You're the referee. All that. So it's your game. Do what you do with it. So we're gonna go into the inner smile meditation after this. After these 90 seconds, 10 seconds. I'm gonna wait until she's finished telling me that my time or whatever it is. All good. She's gonna come back in and fix that thing, but we're going to go into the inner smile, transforming of negative emotions. You know what I'm saying? It's the 5 elements, fusion of the 5 elements and transforming of negative emotions. The book, if you would like to get the book and actually go into the entirety of this meditation, it's called, it's by Meta-Maji-Shen. Meta-Maji-Shen. I think it's the Montague, Montouha. I was whispering on that, so I'm not sure. Montauk, Montague? Okay, and then Chia is Ochia. I ain't got none of this book for that word, so yeah, I think it's Meta-Maji-Shen. It's somewhat similar to that. But Chia, just type in fusion of the 5 elements and transforming of negative emotions. And it'll be up under there. Okay, but after she's finished with all this countdown and stuff, we're gonna take off. All right. Just remember to relax. If you are a lady, queen, then your feet should be splayed or 40 at a 45-degree angle. Men should sit at the corner of the chair, just sitting in the chair. Men should sit at the corner, on the edge of the chair, forgive me, with their sexual organs or with the testicles hanging off the edge of the chair, the procreation organ, so that there won't be a blockage in that energy. All right, women, y'all good because y'all don't hold your ovary in that area like we hold our semen in the testicles. So that's the energy right there that we are transforming. That, you know, the blood or the plasmic type of energy that's within the blood. We're transforming that back and letting it go back into the body for healing purposes in place of producing a child or whatever it may be. All right, so women, 45-degree angles. And for us men, it should be like a right angle with our legs and our feet. So it's like an L. Sit comfortably, shoulders relaxed, tongue at the roof of the mouth. On every inhalation, we breathe in through the nose. We count 4-2-4 or 6-3-6, depending on your comfort level within that breath. Also, we bring bring up perineum. The perineum is that space that some people call it the pooch or whatever. I think that's what we call it. I can't remember. Anyway, is that small space in between the procreation organ and the evacuation organ. The politically correct terms. I'm just, Okay, so we bring that up very subtly. It's like we're going to flip that up into the stomach, bring it up towards the stomach on the inhalation, and on the exhalation, we relax the area. And it's subtle, too, so don't really force it, like make it tight or nothing, just bring it up. And that stops the energy from going out in that area, from escaping that area. And the tongue at the roof of the mouth stops the energy from escaping at the top of the head. So it keeps the energy within the body properly circulate through the body instead of being evacuated untimely. All right, so now we relax, hands on our knees or hands in the sun, moon, mudra. That will be for men. Left hand on bottom, right hand on top, and the opposite for women, due to the fact that the energy cycles in two different ways. Electromagnetic energies, but you can switch that up if you like. Whenever you do, feel that way. I do on occasion. The hands up due to the fact of balancing both energies. I don't want to be too young, I don't want to be too yin, so to speak. I don't want to be too male, I don't want to be too female. You want to balance with that the right intelligence and intellect. All right, so hands in the sun and moon mudra. Thumbs will be touching or relaxed and laid on top of the four fingers of the other hand. So it's up to you. Now we're going to breathe in. Remember to find that smiling reference point with the inner smile. Remember, this is fusion of the five elements and transferring negative emotions by way of the inner smile. So the inner smile technique, or locate that reference point that gives us that sense of happiness. And then we locate it and we form a smile at the corner of our mouth if we choose to. And we breathe in that smiling potential and allow it to go throughout the body as a great, great bright light. So breathe in through your nose, 4-2-4 or 6-3-6. Allow that energy to go through your body on the exhalation. See it flowing through every point of your body, that white light going from the crown chakra all the way to the base chakra. See all those colors being infused. Breathe in again. See all those colors, that white light going in with it, infusing all the colors together and absorbing. You see that darkness that surrounds as that white light goes up and down. Keep the smiling energy going. Now we smile again, taking the breath, locate the heart, see the color red, notice the fire, notice hate, transfer the negative emotion of hate to love, and exhale and smile into the heart. Again, smile, locate the energy, spiral the energy, the color red, from the heart, and on the exhalation, allow the energy to go to the lower dantian, which is 1 inch or 1.5 inches below the belly button. So smile and allow the energy to go into that realm. Once again, breathe in, see the color red, transfer the negative emotion of hate to love, and breathe out the smiling energy in the color red into the lower dantian. Now locate the lung. We'll go back to the heart. Locate the heart again. Breathe in. The sound is ha. So breathe in. Locate the heart. See the hate. Transfer the hate to love. Then exhale the color red and ha. And it spirals into the lower dantian from the heart. Now we go to the lungs. Locate the lungs. See the color white. The negative energy. The sadness. Transform that negative energy to happiness on the exhalation. So breathe in. 424 or 626. So breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 2. Then exhale out the color white and the positive emotion of happiness into the lower dantian with the color red. Breathe in once again. See the color white. Locate that sadness. Now it's turn and transform into happiness with that smiling energy. And breathe out. As we go and locate that energy back into the lower dantian. The sound is, the heart sound was ha. So ha. So now we go to the liver. The color is green. The negative emotion is anger. We're transferring that negative emotion to acceptance. And the sound is shu, like S-H-U. Shu. So we breathe in. Color's green. Change anger to acceptance. And we spiral the color green from the liver location into the dantian. So breathe out color green and into the dantian. Once again, we breathe in. Color's green. Negative emotions, anger, transform it to acceptance. And we breathe out into the dantian, lower dantian. Now we locate the spleen. The spleen's color is yellow. The negative emotion is pensiveness or is worry, basically. Transform worrying into patience and wisdom. The sound of the spleen is whoo, like the wind. So we breathe in the color yellow, 6 seconds. Hold for 3 in the center. Transform the negative emotion of worry to patience, and we breathe our patience and the color yellow into the lower dantian. So we breathe in yellow, negative emotion, transform it from worry to patience, and we breathe out the color yellow and the sound woo with the positive emotion of patience and wisdom to the lower dantian. And then we locate the kidneys. The kidneys color is black. The energy, the negative energy or the negative emotion is fear. The positive emotion is courage. So we're going to transform fear to courage. The sound is shui. So we locate the kidneys, small of the back. Breathe in the color black. Transform the negative emotion of fear to courage. And then we breathe out the color black and the sound shui into the lower dantian. Shui. Breathe in once again, the color black. Negative emotion, spirit, transform to courage. Breathe in the color black. Now we exhale out the positive emotion of courage and shui. To the lower dantian. Remember, on each exhalation, allow the stomach to go as flat as possible to the spine. On every inhalation, allow the stomach to become large like a beach ball. So as we breathe in, we just allow the stomach to become like a pregnant lady's stomach or a beach ball that bulges out. And then when we breathe out or exhale, we allow the stomach to go as close to the spine as possible. This gives a gradient of energy of hydraulic pressure, and there's a pump that allows the energy to move through the body properly by deep diaphragmatic breathing. It's giving the internal organs a very optimal exercise or exercise, a very good massage and soothing, as well as taking away blockages that may have occurred to any organ system, strengthening the fascia or the connectivity of the tendons, ligaments, and muscles that form the organs, as well as the skin of the body. So it's an internal strengthening process that's taking place within the deep conscious breathing, as well as the internal effect of the connected means of spirit and body through the activity of mind. And that is all. All right, so the inner smile, be the inner smile. Now gather all of those energies. That's the red of the heart, and that's love. The white of the lungs, that's happiness. The green of the liver, that's acceptance. the yellow of the spleen, patience and wisdom, and the black of the kidneys, that's courage. So connect and unify all those colors, red, white, green, yellow, and black, and spiral them all together into the lower dantian and form an orb of those colors as they spin in a clockwise manner at the lower dantian, forming a ball in that section. All right. So breathe in a couple of times. As you breathe in, spiral that ball in the lower dantian. Breathe out, stomach to go as flat as possible. Breathe in again, allow the stomach to become large, like a beach ball. And breathe out. Now on this one, breathe in heaven. And on the exhalation, form that ball and allow the ball to go out to third, in between the third and fifth lumbar, the small of the back, the lumbar vertebrae. Allow it to see this in your imagination, this image. Allow it to go out to third and fifth vertebrae, then go up into the center where the heart is located in the back, the governing channel. Now allow it to go to the first cervical vertebrae, that's the base of the spine, the base of the cervical spine, right here at the top of or at the bottom of the neck. Then after that, allow the ball to go to the top of the head. Then allow it to go to the third eye or the first eye region. Then when it reaches the nose, breathe out, right there at the cleft. Then allow that ball to go to the throat. Then region from versus the back where it was at the base of the neck. Then let it go to the heart region, the solar plexus in the front. Then allow it to go to the right there below the belly button at the lower dantian. Then allow it to go under the sexual organs and the evacuation organ, and then back up to the small of the back where the third and fifth lumbar is, and allow that orb to go back out of that spot and do the same cycle again. This is the microcosmic orbit. All right, so once again, the third and fifth lumbar, allow the orb to go out of that area, then up to the mid section or the solar plexus region in the back where the governing vessel is, the governing channel. The conception channel runs down the front, the governing runs down the rear, the Dume and Renme. All right, so allow that energy to go back to the solar plexus region, then to the back of the throat, the back of the neck, the base, and then go up to the crown chakra at the top of the head, and then to the pineal gland region in the front between the eyes, and exhalation when we reach the palate under the nose. Once again, it goes down the front, solar plexus from the throat, solar plexus region in the front, then inch below at the lower dantian, then goes under pelvis region, then back up to the third and fifth lumbar, then proceed to allow the ball to go back out, the orb to go back out of the third and fifth lumbar, go back up to that region again in the lower, into middle of the back, at the solar plexus region in the rear, then go to the base of the neck once again, then back to the top into the crown chakra, then to the third eye, first eye region, and exhale as it reaches the palate right under the nose. Then follow that orb again all the way up. Breathe in, breathe in when we reach third and fifth lumbar again, and then we force with high intent the ball or the orb to go back into that cycle. All right. So again, we exhale when it reaches the nose or reaches the palate, the space right under the nose, and we allow the exhalation to take place throughout the front, going back under the pelvis region or where the perineum is. Then we breathe in again, making a large stomach, or making the stomach big like a beach ball, and we allow that orb to come back out third, fifth lumbar, then go up to that cycle and around again, and breathe out when it reaches the nose. And then allow it to go down. On this one, you do it 4 times, 6 times, 8, 12, as many times as you feel comfortable until you fall asleep. Now, don't fall asleep, meditate. It's all good. But you do that as many times as you feel comfortable, and it's all good, So do that in rotation, the microcosmic orbit. Then on the last one, when the ball goes to the 35th lumbar, you breathe in. In place of it going out of that 35th lumbar and going back up and around the governing channel, push the ball back to the front to the lower Dantian region. So now we breathe in on this one, on the last one, whenever you're going to the finale or the finality of the breathing exercise. Then we push the ball to the front, to the forward position where the lower Dantian is located, and then on the exhalation, we spiral the ball in a counterclockwise way. And you may see the yin and yang symbol, the pendant is somewhat similar to it, but you may see black and white symbols spiraling and going in a certain type of movement of vibration in that area. The light side of the hill and the dark side of the hill, the yin and yang. All right, so give thanks for that meditation. Well, the inner smile has always been very beneficial for me. I've done it for a few years now. It's always helped with internal issues. Not like something detrimental was happening, but like if I get a slight snot coming out my nasal, I need that nose drop thing to drop, so I won't get the nose drop things to be dropping. So what I would do is do the inner smile meditation, and there's all type of different exercises that can enhance health, as far as meditation is concerned. That's why meditation is my medication. Good tip for meditation to make sure, I'm going to give a couple tips and tricks before closing. Make sure that you are sitting on a firm surface or a firm pillow. I normally get a pillow or two pillows. If I'm at home, I have my own, like little cushion that I use for meditation. But when I'm out, I don't take that with me. I get the pillows or whatever, and I put them on the floor in place with that cushion. But make sure that you are not leaning back on the chair or on the floor, wherever you are, if your legs crossed in the chair or if you're on the chair. The legs should be apart when you're in the chair, too. You know what I'm saying? That means space in between so the energy will flow properly. Don't sit with one leg going to the middle and the other leg, cocked up on the side of the chair or the arm of the chair and try to meditate, get to a position. Don't lean back on the chair. Don't lean too far forward either. Ensure that you're balanced and you got a correct posture. It helps with the control of the mind. Also helps. Well, basically, it brings discipline within the mind and muscle memory of how the energy flows through the body. So correct posture is very important. Be sure that the chest is somewhat open to where you can breathe properly. So relax the chest. Don't have it tight, and restricted. Make sure the shoulders are very relaxed. You know what I'm saying? So the lungs won't be obstructed. If the shoulders are up and tense, then it closes off the lung activity. And you want to be able to bring in the breath properly. So relax the shoulders, bring them down. And notice that there's no tension. If you feel any type of tension within the breathing exercise, like meditation or even Tai Chi or Qigong, you just not necessarily try to fix it at that moment, but notice it, to keep it moving, and then come back to it afterwards or whatnot, but adjust if possible, but, just noticing will bring about the adjustment. Be detached as much as possible. Try not to meditate around a lot of noise, a lot of things happening that could distract your meditation. Distractions can cause dilemmas within the meditation until you have become, able to avoid the distractions even when they are there. It takes a minute to get into that meditative mind that way, But, some people are born like that, to just transition into it that simple, So, detach ourselves from our thoughts, stay in the moment. The monkey brain always tends to jump into some meditations, especially when we have stress in life. So the more you meditate, the less stress we have. So that brings about the less potential of what we call that monkey brain or distractions. Develop a routine. That's one of the best tips for meditation. If you're going to meditate, develop a ritual of way of meditating. I mean, basically, don't just meditate, for 5 minutes one day out the month and think, you want to develop into your higher senses, or just anything's going to occur. If you really want to see that change, it's like what we were talking about earlier, repetition. You know what I'm saying? So with things that's negative be taking place on the external, and the reason it affects us so much is because it's repetitive. So all things that's done in repetition develops a certain type of memory to where we become open to that repetition, and we actually receptive to believe that whatever it is that we're doing is necessary because of the repetitive manner that has occurred, even if it's not good for it. I mean, this ham sandwich every day. It's repetition. But basically, routine is very important in meditation. Whenever you wake up, maybe, or before you go to bed, or just pick a time of the day, 7 o'clock, the God hour, you know what I'm saying? Sit down, meditate, get yourself ready for rest, and for a new day, so get that gas we need to operate the vehicle properly the next day, So basically, that's what's happening when our breath is being instructed. Breath is fuel for this vehicle, So without the breath, the vehicle eventually falls apart. Just like a car that ain't got the right fluids in the gas or whatever, certain things that cars have to have, like oil, spark plugs, antifreeze, gas, gasoline or whatever. Now, when we put different things in there that are not necessarily what is drive, so to speak, naturally, this car, this vehicle that we have here requires this gasoline called air, but we're shallow breathers, and the breath that we're getting is potentially toxic anyway because of due to the chemtrails. Then the purging process is not going to be taking place for one. But when we have acquired knowledge of deep conscious breathing and all that, then what takes place is we are purging ourselves of any toxicity, but we're breathing properly as well. And that's going to bring about an exchange of heightening and elevating the potential of the vehicle, giving us that fuel that's required to move the car properly or the vehicle properly. So I'm not going to put water in the gas reservoir thinking that it's going to move unless I'm operating a hydro fueled car or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And that, I'm talking about the perspective of a vehicle, meaning a metal car. So I'm going to put the right type of fluid into the physical body as well, the right type of gas. So deep conscious breathing as opposed to shallow breathing. But that ritual, find a routine, find a way to do the meditations every day at the same time, and just become a habit of it, almost be like, dang, I ain't eat today. Let me go somewhere and find my meditation spot. That's our fuel. Hands, put your hands in a certain position. That's up to you. Like we was talking about the sun and moon mudra. That's a good one. Holding the thought mudra is good one. That's where you place your left hand will grab the thumb. Your left hand will grab the thumb with the whole fist. Will take it in, and then the right hand will, the fingers will go over the left hand. So the left hand will be holding the thumb. That's called holding the mind. The pineal gland has points within the thumb. So by holding the thumb there, this manner, it stimulates the pineal gland. All right, the eyes preferably should be closed. It's not, you focus Some people say focus on the nose, the eyes focus on, but that's not what it's meant. If you have your eyes open, basically look 4 to 6 inches to the ground, but not really at the nose. They'll look at a 45-degree angle, 4 to 6 inches to the ground. When they say focus on the nose, what it's really meaning is basically focus on the breath. So focus your attention on the breath. Sound, meditate to good music. I deal with the tone sometimes when I meditate. The arm is one of my favorites. I guess you could say favorite. Singing bowls as well, Tibetan singing bowls. The breath, again, is very important to stay relaxed. Do a couple of breaths before you go into your meditation just to stimulate the energy. A couple of breaths, 4, 8. I do a couple of different exercises before I get deeper into my meditation. To stimulate the energy, I might do normal breathing, then I might do reverse breathing, where you inhale and allow the stomach to go in on the inhalation in place of going out. I may do a couple of Tibetan Lama yoga stimulating exercises where it's like relaxation and tension, where you tense the whole body up and breathe in, and then breathe out after a few different other processes inside of that exercise that I'm not going to go over right now. That's a more advanced meditation. I'll go over it one day, but it really stimulates your healing potential for yourself and others, but it also allows the blood to move through properly at a more profuse manner due to the tensing of the muscles, and also strengthens the internal muscles as well as the external over time. So it gives one that what we call the iron body or the iron shirt. The Nadon basically means the spiritual, the internal work, versus Wadon, which means external energy. Whereas inside of Weiqi Neji or Naji is the internal work, but that internal strength is very important in our day-to-day. It gives us strength internally as far as the organs are concerned on a physical level, but it also gives us strength internally as far as our consciousness is concerned on that intelligent level, to be able to consciously, again, think properly and to live in accordance to our intelligence. And the most intelligent thought is normal, to me, is freedom. I mean, who and what and why and where the world is going and who is ruling and pointing it in the direction that it's going, is up in the air. But yet still, we do not need anyone to place what we would think as freedom into a category of thought and still have regulations that reside around that freedom. Freedom is life. Freedom is truth. To be free is to be. You know what I'm saying? We might think freedom is, okay, I'm 18 now. I'm free to go and do what I want to. I'm 21 now, so now I'm free. I can smoke and drink, or I got a license and I can freely go up and down the road. But we've now learned none of this is freedom. I turned 18 it seemed like I got locked up even more. So, what I'm saying, by what we officially call government these days. Dope serious. All right, so gain that breath to be able to really utilize your intelligence and your freedom within that breath. It's an avenue, it's the roadway, it's the pathway, it's the way. The Tao is somewhere. They have mentioned it as Taoism, the way, but also it's my eye or whatever. It's the balancing. So definitely get into deep breathing exercises, or deep conscious breathing exercises, meditation. And when we do meditate, have gratitude, of that energy, connect with the energy properly. They say, inside of consciousness there's a dark and light side or whatever. They deal with the dark magic. They deal with light magic. I mean, I don't know what that means personally. Dark light. These are concepts. These are words, just as same as what's taking place. All of these are concepts, these words, and that deliberately can synthesize different type of realities within what we call the physical reality. Due to us being who we are constantly, and unconsciously. But basically, remember, the brain receives all the information and translates it, into the physical reality. The personality basically is the one who perceives and reacts and then responds to the information that the brain is picking up. Consciousness is the intelligence, basically, That's the higher self or whatever. That's the realm of the unknown, the known, and the unknowable. That's the source, the source of the river. But so as the consciousness creates, conceives, it then sends that what it creates to the brain. The brain, or the human brain, or the brain in general, that seed, then receives and translates that information into our personality, and the personality constructs what it perceives as, it could be whatever it is that we see in physical reality, so to speak. It could be Christmas. The higher consciousness created the reality or the conception of what the whole, the whole event of what's taking place at Christmas is. Then the brain receives and translates the information as far as what the personality has constructed through the stimulus of reality. But all of it is based on consciousness. Now, the concept of what we have as, so to speak, Christmas is one concept, yet it's only due to the repetitive manner that has been given to us and how we receive and translate the energy. All right, so, but yeah, at the end of the meditations, remember to stay in the respect of reverence to all. Because that breath, you don't want the breath to come in and be like, I hate it. You know what I'm saying? And then we just go on right back into the same pattern. We did this before. This has been done. Let's do something different. Let's do something new. Let's change ourselves. And we can't change the world. That's obvious. But I know I can do something for me every day, regardless of what the regulators or whatever are attempting to prove and to put on us like that. So we're gonna keep moving, So this was medication is my meditation. Spoke a little bit on that, spoke more on the current events than actually meditating, but I'm going to speak. I'm going to read this real fast. It was read it before, but this is how vital meditation is. That it's been placed in the Bible. This is the Holy Bible, Helios Biblos, the Sun book. In Psalms chapter 18. Psalms 18, verses 1 through 19. Knowledge to build and store. Or chapter 18, knowledge to build a story 1 to 19. 1 is 1, 19 is 1, and 19 and 1 again. So it's completion. The first is knowledge, but also it equals out to 10. Let's go back into it. So it states here, Psalms 18, King James Version, right here. I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler, and the horn of my salvation, my high tower. So I'm going to break that down. I will love thee, O Lord. I will love, that's the side of my eye. I will be my eye. I will have order. I will be balanced. Oh Lord, Lord, that's a fear that's kept me. The tip of the tree of life. Basically, that's the tree of life is Kabbalah, tree of life, Kabbalism or mystical Judaism. I will love, or I will be my eye. I'll fear. My strength is Kabbalah. All right, so the Lord is my rock. Rock is Peter or Ptah. The Lord is my rock. The Lord is Ptah. Ptah means fashioner or opener. The Lord is my opener, my fashioner, and my fortress, my deliverer, my God. I'll say it again. The Lord of the perfect darkness, my strength again, Kabbalah, in whom I would trust. Truth, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. The sound, the vibration, the horn, my salvation and my high tower. The all, pomegranate. I will call upon the Lord, divine utterances, healing sounds. I will call. So when we speak, I will call upon the Lord. These are the haikus, the tekat, the power words. All right, I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, so I shall be saved from my enemies. The enemies are the enemy. So we call upon the intelligence to be able to utilize the protection from the true enemy. Remember, like I said earlier, when the true real enemy come up, we won't even recognize them because we're so busy pointing at our brothers and sisters and all this other stuff. True enemy, of course, the true opposition is opposition self. All right, so verse 4, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. As a lower self, there's ungodly men, external concepts of salvation and reality. That's the sorrows of death compass me. So that's the external concepts of salvation and reality, and the floods of ungodly men. That's all based on lower self expectations as well as lower self perceptions. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. So those are the emotional reactions that occur in life in general when we react to certain things that might stimulate that emotion. So the sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. You know what I'm saying? The sorrows of the physical reality, the emotions of the lower base. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God. There was divine utterances again. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears, as the pomegranate absorbing light and sound frequencies. All right, into the temples, the ears, the temples are on the side right there. Temple being the physical body. Also, he heard my voice out of his temple, pomegranate, located right between the temples. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken because he was rocked. So the earth, the physical body, shook and trembled. That's the Shakti energy coming from the foundations. And also the hills moved. So that it went up to the mountain and met Shiva in the mind. And the whole body started shaking and went to those convulsions as when the Kundalini energy goes up the spine and reemerges back into the pomegranate region. But there went up a smoke out of his nostrils and fire out of his mouth, devouring the coals. So there went up a smoke out of his nostrils and fire out of his mouth, devouring, as eliminating the toxins of the body. The coals, that's melanin, were kindled by it. You know what I'm saying? So the physical body that exists and consists of basically intelligence, which is melanin, was soothed. Coal being hot. You know what I'm saying? At times, that red energy, the active energy of the physical body in its generation was soothed, so a way of eliminating the toxins when the smoke came out of the nostrils. On the evacuation of carbon dioxide. He arced the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. So the Ark of the Covenant, that's the substantial nigra, that the rainbow effect within the brain. The substantial nigra has all of those different colors of the rainbow, the arc. So he arced the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Darkness is the substantial nigra. Nigra meaning darkness, substantial darkness. All right, and he rode upon a cherubim. Cherubim means to be near, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. That's the breath. And of course, the intelligence again. That's melanin, if we want to call it that. Dark energy, dark matter, internal and external melanin. All right, so he rode upon a cherub to be near and did fly. You know what I'm saying? On them his wings right there, you know what I'm saying? So he made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies, inner and outer melanin. That's what the thick clouds of the skies were, the dark waters. So he made that darkness the secret place. The darkness being the secret place, that's where the intelligence resides. Now, it's all allegorical again. This is about meditation and what meditation brings and how it feels upon the physical body and some of the reactions that will take place, and also what occurs externally from the internal processing of that energy in the alchemical equation. So at the brightness this is verse 12, at the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomfited them. That's the cumulating rising. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice. You know what I'm saying? Hailstones and coals of fire. So the voice again, the power words came through. And he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightning to discomfited them. So he shot out the lightning from the base, the cumulating energy rises up the spine, and then it goes. This is verse 15. Then the channels of the water were seen, meridians were cleared from the before, and the proper flow of energy went through again, the proper flow of the inner melanin, and the foundations of the world were discovered at thy root, and therefore that means that the balance is restored within the physical body. So, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of thy nostrils, that's correct, the correct breathing process. He sent from above, this is verse 7 to 16, he sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. So the higher and lower self are now uniting. The physical body is now connecting back by way of correct breathing to the mind or to the all. He sent from above, that's the pineal gland, or the absorption of the energy into the pineal gland. He took me, he drew me out of the many waters in the Sea of Galilee, or in the lower part of our anatomy, like the lower intestines, the small intestines where fluids are located, and drew me out of the many waters. All right, so it's a lower and higher self connecting back to one. He delivered me from my strong enemy, that's the lower self, the inner me, and from which hated me, and they were too strong for me. He delivered me from my strong enemy. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. Lower self, and that's negative emotions. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, the lack of understanding and the uninitiated, but the Lord was my stay. So the lower self, or the ignorance and the lack of understanding, was preventing one from becoming the true self. So the lack of ignorance is based on the lack of breathing properly, basically. And then, verse 19 of chapter 18, Psalms 18 states, he brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. That large place is the all. The large place is the source, and that's infinite possibilities. All right, so give thanks. That is Psalms 18, chapter 18, verses 1 through 19. And you can check that out yourself and see exactly what I'm talking about as far as that being a meditative type of verse. Psalms is potentially was written by Akhenaten. And, he was a poet somewhat, second. But, it's very poetic and has different type of reactions of meaning behind it. But give thanks. All right, we're going to go ahead and close out here for a minute. Like I said, that's just my way of thinking. I like to change up stuff. It's different to the source of thought. Different to the intelligence, basically. And be very attentive of my intent as well, and not to force anything. I really didn't have too many notes on this. I put this together today as far as notes is concerned. Give thanks, it's not either here or there. I'm going to get back to work on some other things as I close. We're working on some stuff. We're getting things together, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully you'll be at the next Melanated event over there for the autumnal equinox. All right, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be powerful as usual. And just stay up, peace, prosperity, protection, and good health. I see you on the flip.
Yeah. ATD. Above the dome. Trap of freedom. It's family, tradition, heritage, the missing links, spiritual miracles, the awakenings, the walking sphinx. It's time to eat. Food for thought. It's the Meta-Maji-Shen. Holy rainwater flows off my altar, channel through the seasons, elevate the reasons. What's the purpose of life to the living, death to the conscious? At the end of days, clash of the titans, zombies running rampant, Christ in the pamper, looking for a lamp, revving at the church, plugging in the amp, rock of the ages, son of the undead, vamping, immortal rage. I bleed red ink on the page, words and truth, no signature, to the blur. From invisible literature, sitting at the dock of the bay with Otis, having rituals, turn the lights off, it can get real quick, sir. Melting pot mix, I'm in search for a fix, walking backwards, looking forwards, patiently waiting, don't ignore it, holding two swords like peace signs aimed at your board.
Want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom?
Darkness to light, walk into flight, hawk eyesight, interdimensional terabytes, fuel for the journey, some late a fuel for the gurney, colored in the book of law, no need for attorneys. I turn the page, feel the script like a doctor coming out the cage. I'm the lion, fed grain, sticks and stones, no pain, or workers only workers gain, attempting to keep my inner sane with lifestyle changes, high than mountain plains, 7 thoughts, 7 vaults, no faults, who's to blame? It ain't the same, they take your names, I feel the sun, it ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. I see you run like Hussein, like none. It seems frightening, exciting, I go extreme and lightning, I'm the Nick and Logan at night.
Do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom?
Yeah, time, space is obsolete. Locate the unlocal, way above yet so below. The permanency of non-movement, ATV, above the dome, trap of freedom, Blackwater, the Meta-Maji-Shen. Mad science is on the track. Peace.